Hello, my name is Jaydeep Singh, and today I'm going to be demonstrating my grade curve application. So let's go ahead and get started. I'll navigate to my application. And so the purpose of this application is for teachers, given a set of grades and students' names, they will be able to apply one of several different types of curves, and the program will calculate the new set of curve grades and then display it as you can see over here. So looking at this application, I have two sets of options. The first allows the user to input a set of given grades either by loading a grade from a file or by entering it in manually. The second set of options allows the user to apply a certain type of curve to the given set of grades. So let's look first at the manual entry of the grades. The goal of this input dialog is to allow the user to start typing in the names as they would so desire. So let's say that this teacher has three different students. First is John Doe, who gets an 84 on an assignment. Next is Jane Doe, who gets a 73 on an assignment. And then the final is anonymous person, who gets, let's say, a 90 on an assignment. So the function of this is that the teacher can manually enter the grades in the file they want, and it should show a set of original grades in the order that the teacher inputted them in. You can see that there's an option to clear the current sets of grades, which will simply remove all those. I won't do that just yet because I'd like to demonstrate the curving options, and I'll get to this loading grades option a little bit later. So now let's see. The teacher has an option of 4 different types of curves: a linear curve, a square root curve, setting the max grade to a 100 and adjusting all of the grades accordingly, and setting the average to an 85 and adjusting all grades accordingly. So looking at the linear curve, an input dialog opens up which allows the teacher to then input the amount that they want to boost the grades linear by. So let's say that the teacher wants to input a linear 10-point curve for all these grades. The teacher will then input 10, and the curve grades will show up here. One interesting feature to note is that the curve grades end up appearing in alphabetical order, whereas these appeared in the order that the teacher inputted this. The reason that this might be useful is because teachers often have to enter in their grades into a grade system that is organized alphabetically, which means that this system allows for the teacher to have that already in order. And so you can see that it has the applied curves. The anonymous person got a 10-point curve from a 90 to a 100. Another feature is that every time you apply a new curve, it'll clear the original set of curves, which allows for the teacher to attempt to look at different types of curves. So let's see, it's lagging a little bit here. So let's say the teacher then chooses to set the average to an 85. The program will calculate the average of the set of grades, determine what it takes to boost that grade up to an 85, and adjust all grades accordingly. So you can apply all these different types of curves to the given set of grades. And another thing to note is that the names are actually paired with the grades. This uses the map data structure, which allows for a key of a name to be paired with an integer value of the grade. And that's useful because we want to associate a given name with a given grade instead of just having a list of grades. So now let's clear the current set of grades, which simply removes all inputted grades thus far. The final feature to note is the load grades option. And what this does is it allows a teacher to use a database file that is formatted correctly, a .txt file or a .dat file, and it'll read in from that file and actually input the set of grades. So the reason that might be useful is if a grade program is able to export a data file of an original set of grades, then the teacher won't have to enter everything in manually. It'll already be there, and the teacher simply has to then apply a curve. So I made a sample text file that we can look at. Let's see. So I made a sample grade database here, which will then open up. And this contains a given set of grades that I entered into a .txt file that was formatted correctly. And then as you can see, it applies the same way. You can apply a given choice of curves. You can test which curve you like best and then stick with that. And if you want, you can also add more grades on top of that. And so that's it for my application. I hope you enjoyed it, and hopefully it gets used in the future. Thank you for listening.